Hi, it's Dave at Stable Vehicle Contracts. I hope you're okay. Today we are taking a first look round this, the Polestar 2. So in this video, apart from getting blown away by the windy conditions, but bear with us, we'll do our best. We're going to be taking a first look round, walking around the car, talking about a couple of the features, what we like, what we don't like, that sort of thing. So if you're interested, let's get to it. So this is the entry level in the Polestar 2 range. So it's the single motor standard range variant, which is the, like I say, the base one. Polestar will say it does around 250 to 270 miles on a single charge, which is a little bit wishy-washy if you ask me. So I referred to the EV database, and I feel they give you a much more true figure. And what they say is this vehicle will do 215 miles on a single range. Now, from our experience, we've had this car for a few days now, and we are getting around 215 to 220 on a full charge. So the EV database seems to have that pretty much spot on. So let's take a look at the front of the vehicle. Now, a lot of EVs, you'll see them, and the bonnet is actually quite short because there's no engine in there, and a lot of people like that, me included. I'm used to that on my ID3, and it was actually quite unusual getting into a vehicle with such a long bonnet now. But Polestar have decided to keep with the traditional one, and what it does allow you to do, the benefit of that is you do get a frunk with that, and we'll take a look at the Polestar's frunk shortly. Now, you've got the Polestar badge here, which is kind of cool and minimalistic, as they say. I quite like that, I think it looks nice. And then looking at the grille here, it's a little bit weird. You've got this plastic square effect here in a sort of like a satin finish. Looks quite nice, not quite sure, but it does look okay. And then broke up very nicely with this aluminium strip here. As I mentioned at the start of the video, Polestar have decided to keep the bonnet quite long, and what it allows them to do, amongst other things I imagine, but is to get this frunk going on here. Now, it is great for putting your cables in. We've actually got two sets of cables here, a 3-pin and then a Type 2 to Type 2, and they'll go in there no problem whatsoever. But that's it. So you're not putting any shopping bags in there. And other than these two cables, there's no room for anything else, which is a bit disappointing. LED headlights are standard on the Polestar 2. Now, to keep with the Swedish theme, Polestar have named this the Thor hammer because it looks a bit like a hammer, and you know, into Marvel. If you know, you know. If you don't worry about it. Basically, LED headlights, looks like a hammer, looks pretty cool. Very nice. Also on the front we've got parking sensors, we've also got parking sensors to the rear, and we've got a rear camera as well. So all good and all covered in that department. Moving around to the alloy wheels, these are the standard alloys, which are the 19-inch 5 V-spoke wheels. Look really cool, I quite like them. You can upgrade to 20-inch alloys, I think for about 900 quid. I don't really see the necessity to do that. I think they look perfectly fine. Let's talk about styling. First off, colour. So this is just called Midnight. Basically, a nice dark blue. Actually looks very, very nice. There's a host of other metallic colours you can choose for around the same money, £900. Or if you want to save that money, you've got Void, which is the solid black essentially. No cost on that. But obviously, you've got all the pitfalls that do come with having a solid black car. Not great, really not great. Other features, firstly, this is a little bit quirky. You've got this mirrorless door mirrors here, which I think look really, really cool, very smart. And then the wheel arches here have got a little bit of an accent there, just to give a bit of an additional flair to them. But one thing I don't like, and if I had this car, if it was my car, what I'd be doing, I'd be peeling off this sticker. Looks really cheap, I don't know why they do that. Moving around to the rear of the vehicle, if I'm honest with you, it is very Volvo-like, but I don't mind that, looks very nice. And what I do like about this car, and you've seen it more and more with vehicles now, is these LED headlights, which wrap all the way around the back of the vehicle and look very nice, especially when you've got fancy light sequences like that. So parking sensors are standard, as well as the rear camera, which is located just there, as I mentioned earlier. And also as standard, you've got the auto boot opening like that, which is handy. Space-wise in the boot, plenty there actually. It's not very deep, but it is quite long in length. You've got a hatch there to slide your snooker cue in there, or skis, whatever you've got. And also a bit of extra space if you want to hide any valuables or charging cables perhaps in there. So decent space, and then you've got auto closing as well, which is very nice. Moving on to the interior of the vehicle, and let's take a look around the fixtures and fittings. So starting off with the dash up here, this isn't your cheap plastic like you'll get in a lot of cars at all, no scratchy finish. It's like a rubber but with a fabric finish over the top, so looks very nice. And then you have got this fabric finish here, and then a carbon effect which runs all the way along there, and then again onto the black, not cheap plastic finish here. But this contrast is all the way through the vehicle, the black and the grey. It's on the interior of the car, the doors there as well, and I think it looks really nice, really classy and understated. Then moving on to the, let's look at the, we'll come back to the media system in a second actually, because I think that's the part that most people want to. Moving on to the gear selector here, so you've got this really quite a minimalist style gear selector here with the Polestar logo. All you've got is your reverse, your neutral, your drive, park button in the middle, and then just select which one you want, reverse, neutral, drive. Dead easy to use. I picked it up in 2 seconds flat. Very happy with that. Looks really nice as well. Then you've got a couple of buttons here for your heated mirrors and fans, volume dial, and then you can play or pause, and then your hazards, and then surrounded by this gloss black finish here, which, as we all know, looks very, very nice. Just a magnet for fingerprints and speckles of dust. And then that's surrounded in a carbon finish. You got space for your phone. I believe it is wireless actually, wireless phone charging down here, and like your coins and things like that. One part I think lets this car down is the lack of drink holders. So it's a bit weird really. You've got one decent sized drink holder here in the centre. Lift up the armrest, and then there's another drink holder there. But then if you're using that, the armrest is sort of flopping around back there, which is a little bit odd and doesn't really work. So they might as well have not put that in there and just had a compartment broken up for coins and keys and things like that. So that's a little bit odd, and I say let it down a little bit for me. The armrest, you can't adjust the height and lock it, it is just fixed at that. But actually with this space here to rest your arm on and the gear selector, it's actually really nice driving style to have. So yeah, I like that, it's nice. Moving on to the steering wheel, not flat bottomed, but is a nice steering wheel. You've got the Polestar logo in the middle there. Left hand side you've got controls for your cruise control, and then the right hand side for your Google Assistant, and then skipping tracks and controlling the infotainment system in the centre here. Moving on to the digital cockpit, so we can see here we've got this mode enabled, this view, so we can see our speedometer there, the range, the regen and what we're using, and then the battery percentage as well, which is something that I think Volvo have done really well. So they'll show you both the range in miles and also percentage wise. So because a lot of people do just like to see the percentage, and then your first time EV drivers being able to see the range in miles is actually really useful. And then if we switch the views, this is the one that I've been using here. So I'm shrinking down the actual speedo and the range section and opening up the Google Maps here as well. And I think that is the range. That's the range I've been using. I've found it really, really easy to use. Lastly, we're going to be looking at the tablet style infotainment system that Polestar have gone with here. And for me, I think they've been the right in what they've done here. Rather than trying to create their own infotainment system and all the apps that go with it, they've kind of just gone to Google effectively and said, can we put one of your tablets in? And that's what they've done. So it's a Google powered tablet. So it works seamlessly because that's what Google kind of do really, one of their big things. So they've split into 4 segments here. So you've got your maps up here, Google Assistant and the Range Assist in the top right, and you put your phone contacts in this section, and then all your media, Spotify, radio, Bluetooth player all here. So you can download various apps from the Play Store. So I put the Spotify app, and then you can move those around to where you want them. So if we go to the maps, you can see it opens up to a full screen of the map, sits alongside the virtual cockpit here. And then if we go into something like Spotify, you've got to log in, but you can access Spotify from there as well. One thing I think Polestar have missed the trick on, which is, I would think, a fairly simple UX fix, update, is you can't have both those things going on. So you can't have your maps at the top half of the screen and your Spotify or your radio at the bottom half of the screen. It's either one or the other, which I think they've missed a bit of a trick on at the moment. And like I say, I'm sure there'll be an update down the line where that's fixed, where you can have the maps just in the top half, and then even your Spotify in this section, your phone or whatever other app you want in this section here. So you're using all the screen, various different apps and features. I think that's a trick they've missed, but I'm sure, like I say, that will come in the near future. One thing I was surprised about with the Polestar 2 was the space, and actually the lack of it. I thought it'd be a lot bigger than what it is. So in the rear, there's not an awful lot of headroom there for me. And then actually to the side here, again, I'm constantly banging my head at the side of the car here. And what I really don't understand, and hopefully someone can drop a comment below and tell us why this is, but this is an electric vehicle, and I believe a ground-up electric vehicle. What's this? What's this for? There's no drive chain. That's odd. They've kept that in, but they have. So it actually really limits the back space of the vehicle. So having 5 people here, 5 adults, is pretty much a no-no really, which is a little bit disappointing because it does look quite a big vehicle from the outside, and normally EVs, the interior space is really quite big. Not the case I found on the Polestar 2. So that was the first look round the Polestar 2. Next up, there'll be a full review on this vehicle, and hopefully it won't be quite as windy as it is now. If you want to see leasing deals on this vehicle and any other vehicles, check out the link below.